Yeah, and you just make, half the time you're just making stuff up. It's like, what if? I'll just take a bunch of spaghetti and I keep throwing it at the wall. Like, something's going to stick eventually.
There you go. That's perfect. How do you feel like that AI and like the field in general has changed since you first got into it?
A lot. It's going to streamline, so now we have calculators. It's like, okay, I don't have to spend my time converting binary to hex. I can just have a calculator do that and actually get to where I need to go quicker. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like all this stuff is nice and simple once you really get down into the weeds of it, but a lot of it, so for our
So Mark, you're a computer engineer.
Yes, sir.
Working in the coolest sector, the unknown sector. What got you into your journey as a computer engineer? As someone who has no idea who you are, I've literally never talked to you before. Can you kind of let me know what you do and what's important about it to you?
Well, it's actually funny how I actually first got into computers, because I had no real reason to know why I liked computers or anything. It really just came from a fundamental point of I was in high school and I liked video games.
Oh,
that was the whole thing.
That's a cool way to start.
I had no logic of anything. I had no concept of computers or programming of anything. I was literally I think I used to be a PS3 player, and then I had a friend in high school put me onto PC gaming, and then I was like, okay, let me try this. So I built a computer and I liked it. It was fun. I enjoyed building the computer, and then I was just high school was over and they were like, yeah, what are you going to do? I was like, computer engineering. Yeah.
That's really cool, actually.
Yeah.
So you built a computer as your first PC?
Yeah, I built my own PC in 10th grade as my first PC.
That's pretty
cool. And that was how I got into it. I was like, yeah, Legos. I just watched a bunch of videos. I at that point, I was 15, 16. I already had a job. I was saving up.
Okay,
I was just working at restaurants or whatever, saving up money. I was like, yeah.
Dude, that's sick.
I built a computer. I built it, played video games. I was like, I like games. The computer was fun. These videos were entertaining. And then I went to college for computer engineering, and I was like, this is not what I thought I was signing up for, but it ended up working out. So
dude, that's everyone's experience, right? You get into it and nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
That's actually really cool, because most people I talk to, they're like, yeah, I'm just going to buy a pre-built computer. It's way too complicated to build one myself. But then you were like, you know what? As a 16-year-old, I think I got this.
Well, I was the opposite. I was I'm a broke high school kid. I need the money, the value, because at that time, before prices ever went crazy and shortages and stuff, I was able to just save a lot of money, but it was a lot cheaper to build your own computer. This is 2015, so 2016 something. It's a lot cheaper, just buy your own parts and put it together.
Oh, okay.
There wasn't a lot of pre-built companies that were out or established yet that were putting shit out or anything like that. It was it's I save a lot of money. Okay, let me save up.
That's a win-win, right?
I can watch a few YouTube videos.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Dude, that's crazy. Yeah, because today it's $2,000, as you mentioned before, to just get a graphics card.
Yeah, dude, 5090. That's MSRP. That's I was first one in line.
Yeah. That's the best possible deal.
Yeah, that's the best scenario.
That's pretty crazy. So, what is the thing you're most passionate about computer engineering? Now that you've done the studying and you've done the learning of all the pain and suffering, what was the most enjoyable part of it?
All the bits later, honestly, probably just the versatility, because I'm somebody who can get bored of staring at the same thing over and over again. So it's almost that thing where it's you kind of just have to think the job or think the field, as opposed to I have mastered one thing, if I'm playing a sport, right? Mastered playing this sport, or I mastered doing this one thing. It's okay, I'm doing engineering. It's okay, this is cool. I learned this thing. All right, I'm kind of sick of this engineering. I could hop to another aspect of it or another field of it, and then just almost start fresh. But obviously you still have background knowledge that helps you on that. But just the aspect of not even computer engineering, but just engineering in general. If you take computer engineering or other engineering fields, it's there's so much stuff within just the field.
You can go into any direction you want if you have the passion for it.
That's been my favorite thing about it. It's even if I do if I'm trying to do engineering, I'm I don't like this thing, doesn't mean I don't like engineering. I just don't like that thing. I could still do something else within engineering and find joy or something cool about it.
Engineering is like really enjoyable because of that.
Yeah.
It's literally just the art of making things simpler.
Yeah. And you just make, half the time you're just making stuff up. It's like, what if? You're just,
Dude, once we started doing it, or once I started like working with engineering, I'm like, oh, everyone's just making up random numbers.
yeah, just like I'll just take a bunch of spaghetti and I keep throwing it at the wall. Like something's gonna stick eventually.
There
right?
you go. That's perfect. Yo, speaking of spaghetti, you were the man that described machine learning to me the first time, and it actually made sense. I'd heard about it before, like we started doing the project. I'm like, this is interesting. And then I was like, this doesn't make sense. There's just a bunch of spaghetti.
Yeah.
And so whenever when I asked you about it, you were like, oh yeah, Sarkis. I'm gonna keep it simple for you.
Perfect for the name, yeah.
And then like in like 5 minutes, you explained what didn't make sense at all, and I'm like, oh, okay. So, would you mind if we get into that topic?
Sure.
I'd like to ask you, what is AI to you?
So AI to me is us as humans inventing something and trying to design essentially how our brains work. We are basically via software, via computers, trying to create the way we think about things and more specifically, like our ability to learn is like the big caveat. So it's like you could take like a baby as an example, right? Or like a very basic example of like, okay, I go and like I stick my hand in a fire and it hurt. Yeah, stick my hand in that fire. I'm like, I didn't like that. Like, let me not do that again, right? So it sounds like a basic thing. As like a human, basic ability to know, hey, like let me not stick my hand in the fire.
You learned.
We essentially are able to create within software, and now we have hardware applications of AI too. But the brain of it, essentially in software, put it in an environment where it's going to be exposed to things and essentially tell that thing what the right answer is. So it's like able to remember and learn.
Oh, okay.
Same way
it's
a
like
person
like
would,
teaching a baby, like you said. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Teaching a baby, it's like it's trying to do something, and you're like, don't do that. Like the knife's on the table, baby's going for the knife. You're like, nope, don't do that. Yeah. But with AI, right? Like we could have very specific applications, like a driving car, right? You've seen those Waymos that drive around.
Crazy.
Yeah. They have all these different sensors. They have all this like LiDAR, radar, cameras. You're basically, the environment is the road, right? So you teach it, it's got a camera, it's got to be able to look at a red light, and you teach it within that environment, like what the right answer is. But you got to train it, just like a baby or a person growing up, kind of learning through just the experience of life.
Through everything. Huh?
Yeah. But like the first probably 50,000 times that it does it, it probably ran that red light. But you train it and then you tell it like, that's the wrong answer.
Yeah. Maybe
like,
don't do that.
Yeah, like that's incorrect. So then it's gonna try it again, and then until it's eventually doing it exactly how you want it to do it, and then you can kind of take that concept and then you copy paste it into different fields, and that's kind of AI, right?
That is
in a nutshell.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's how do you feel like that AI and like the field in general has changed since you first got into it?
A lot. Short answer is a lot, and there's just growth and development, right? Like I could think to when I was really, even at the beginning of college, AI was not even really a thing. The whole kind of revolution started really with, as we all know, ChatGPT. As far as I see it, at least, like ChatGPT hit and it was like, hey, this thing knows everything, and it can obviously be very streamlined and that's another thing, like AI has discipline because it's not a real person, right? So like as I might be trying to research something, I might have emotions, I might get tired, right? Like I might be hungry, like I gotta go get a bite to eat.
Your mind wanders
want to
off.
go to sleep, or I space out. Like AI has that discipline to just keep kind of doing it, and that's ChatGPT started that whole thing. And ever since ChatGPT came out, how many different like AI websites have you heard about now?
So many,
like
dude.
Chatbots, and the whole revolution just kind of took a spin, and everybody's coming out with things. Now we got those videos on whatever Instagram or
Oh,
TikTok.
the fake made ones?
Yeah, like it just say, yeah, Trump declared war on. I was like, what?
Fake voices,
Yeah,
and it
all
sounds
that stuff.
exactly like the real thing.
At first, and I even remember that, like, it speaks to the progress was like at first they would do that stuff, and I think they would come out with these videos of like Trump, Biden, and Obama are just like hanging out, like,
Oh,
like at the bar or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And they would do that. And obviously, it's fake because it's that, but then you would see the voice and like the lips don't quite match, and it would be a little obvious. Now, and I feel like it's only been like a year and a half.
It's crazy.
Now those videos come out, and you cannot tell what is real, what is fake, who said what. Like, you have to see something, and then you got to fact check it by like, yeah. So just the amount of, and it all comes down to like training your AI, right? So like essentially we've just been progressing and progressing and progressing on it. And ChatGPT came out, what, like 2 years ago? So
Almost, yeah.
I feel like that's a short amount of time for like the amount of progress that AI has kind of been making, the strides that it's been making. And then you just think about the power that has just across
incredible
the board, right?
Yeah,
like,
it learned so much in such little time, like you mentioned. It's like,
yeah.
It went from I was doing like we were talking about like the percentage of like accuracy for like these AIs and stuff, and so the GPT-3 when it came out had like a 9.4% accuracy, and then now if you use like the latest one ChatGPT has with like its like deeper learning function or deep research function, it's like a 25% accuracy, which is like huge, which is still like wrong most of the time. So like that's huge.
Yeah,
that's a huge
big
gain.
jump. It's a big jump, and they're on what, like five now? 4?
Yeah, they're at
still?
4.5, getting ready for 5.
Getting ready for 5. Yeah. And even just the sheer amount of like, I think before it used to be like, ChatGPT wasn't completely like interactive. Like I think it was dated at a certain point.
It was, yeah.
It was like it only knew things up to like a certain point. So I was like, okay, well, if you're on the bleeding edge, this thing is not really helping me, right? I had that experience in our senior design.
Dude,
like, it was like, okay, like I'm not in 2018.
Yeah.
So
those are my favorite things. My knowledge is only from 5 years ago.
yeah, at least it would tell you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think now it's like live knowledge. It pretty much is a live.
I can search the web for you too.
Even without using ChatGPT, you go to Google now and you get an AI overview response for most of the time, either between Google or like on Edge, like the what's it called, Microsoft Pilot on Edge.
Little assistant dude.
AI generated responses for like your basic questions.
They're so much better than like an actual like searching through Wikipedia yourself or like figuring out which website's wrong. Hopefully it does that too, you know?
Yeah.
Like it checks the validity of a website.
Yeah. It'll usually at least source it for you so you can be like, oh, okay, this is where you got your answer. Well, I don't want
I don't know if I trust lies from 2015.com.
Yeah, exactly. But like the sourcing is super quick. Like it streamlines our ability to find knowledge. That's like the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's like the best tool that we've ever had.
Yeah.
So what do you feel like is the most exciting thing from AI for you right now?
Just the potential, like the upside, because it's like crazy how much it's already done, but like it could do so much more than it already has, right?
The growth is insane.
Yeah.
It's literally exponential. Like,
yeah, literally. As soon as you're able to put that model or that brain into some sort of hardware that can actually interface with, whatever you want it to the real world. Like we talked about the self-driving car example, like it could just learn it and do it. And it's like, it'll start to elevate us, right? Like I've heard the thing of like, oh my God, AI is going to take over all of our jobs, right? It's like, I personally don't necessarily think that. It's like you're gonna raise the floor for what our jobs are, right?
True.
So like if you have AI and it's like, okay, now we don't have to have designated people for jobs that are for this or that task. AI is able to do it. So now it just frees you up to be able to expand your potential, right? To go somewhere higher, to achieve like a better goal.
It's like a calculator,
Yeah, right? Like I don't have to sit there and write everything out. How much longer did it take mathematicians or engineers to like get to problem solving when they didn't have a calculator?
That's a great
They
point.
had to sit
It
there
just
and
speeds up what you can already
do
do.
everything themselves. It's going to streamline. So now we have calculators. It's like, okay, I don't have to spend my time converting binary to hex. I can just have a calculator do that and actually get to where I need to go quicker.
There you go.
That's kind of how I see it with AI. Hopefully just expand our ability. Plus, it's not like tomorrow we're just gonna have a robot for everything. You know, it's still gonna take some time to
For
really get
sure.
there. But the potential is what like.
It is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Hold on, I have to check one thing real quick. Yeah, it's. Did you hear that Tesla's planning to have 12,000, at least 12,000? There's a lot of random numbers out there. They're supposed to have their little Optimus bots.
I think I've briefly heard about that.
Yeah. Are we there already?
I guess I was surprised. Yeah, I think functionally it's supposed to be like a house bot or something, right?
Yeah,
You have
to
around
help
your house,
like simple tasks is what they're trying to
yeah,
have.
cooking, or maybe not cook, but like clean or pick stuff up or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the one thing that I'm like really interested to actually see, like applications and abilities and like how they, you know,
Like physically integrate,
yeah, because I mean clearly it's something already trained. You put it in a robot and it's like an expensive robot too. But anyway, I'm interested to see. But stuff like that will start to streamline, right? Like it's like when the first car came out and it's like, okay, it's really expensive, it's high end, but then as we progress, like now everybody has a car, right?
True,
now
yeah. There's like there's like cars being made in like China that are like fully self-driving too. It's like $20,000 or something silly, you know?
Yeah.
So AI is like complicated and it's hard for us regular people to understand. Can you talk to me how you used AI in like a practical application? Like how did you do it? How did you guys have a little camera that understood that a circle is your target? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for everybody to understand, I think, right? Like AI is not like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like all this stuff is nice and simple once you really get down into the weeds of it. But a lot of it, so it really depends on like goal, right? So that's kind of the first thing when you're designing an AI. It's like you need an application. Mm-hmm. You don't necessarily just start and be like, make an AI, bro. Like, just do it. Like, it's
just have a human brain. Come on.
Yeah, I kind of like to think of it as like think backwards. It's like, okay, what do I actually like? What's the end goal? Mm-hmm. Like, what do I want out of this? And then it's like, okay, let me take steps in the reverse to like how I can actually make that. Like the robot, for example, right? It's like, okay, there could be utilization between people's homes. It's like, okay, maybe it'd be cool to just have a robot like just walking around, making stuff. And let me start with that. So that's the application. So for us, right, it's like I wanted a camera to be able to detect certain circles of certain colors. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, okay, so first of all, camera has to be able to see that.
Yeah,
right.
You need a camera.
Before you start able to do all the technology and all the thinking, the computation stuff has to be able to see it. You take it, kind of work your way backwards. You're like, okay, what color is that? It's like, okay, now you get into image processing. If I have a picture or a video, a video is a series of pictures, right? That's like,
that's a good point.
That's all it. Yeah,
frames per second is just pictures per second.
Right. Anybody who's like played a game or something, or like has taken a video with their phone, has seen like FPS, frames per second. It's just how many images do you have per second in that video?
That's a great way to think about it. Yeah.
So it starts with like, okay, I need an image, but really you're taking a video, and then it's like, okay, let me take an image. And then you have pixels, and then you have little colors, and I'm like, hey, that's red. And it's like, okay, what's red? And RGB, we've all heard that, right? The RGB spectrum has a little number code. You do a little look up of what that is, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I know that's red.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then essentially, that's kind of the concept of it. But in general, I would take the concept of like, hey, what is my goal? And then it's like, how do I actually expect to execute that? Like, how would I think about it in a problem, right? Like, how would I need to train? Like, if I'm looking at this camera, I'm looking for red, right? So I'm looking for red. I want that. I go there. And then you start getting into the weeds of how that's actual do. Yeah, then that's when it starts getting real nerdy. Yeah, and then you get the research, and then you get into the coding and all that stuff. But just conceptually, it's like I said in the beginning, I like to think of it of just like a person. Like, how would we train a person's mind?
How would you teach the person to find red?
Yeah, how would you teach a person to do it? How did we ever define that red is red, like in the first place, right? Like, obviously it's common knowledge now, right? That's red.
Yeah, because we already understood it.
Yeah, because we all already know that. But
like, if you go back, baby colors.
Yeah, when did that become red? Yeah,
that's a very interesting.
Yeah.
See, that makes it way simpler because I was always confused. I'm like, where do you start?
Yeah.
So apparently you start at the end.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. Yeah, I like to at least.
That's
yeah.
pretty cool. All right, so I need gaming is very important to me
Me
and
too.
a lot of people.
Me too.
I need some help talking about some gaming PCs.
Okay.
And we all know NVIDIA is like the leader of the architect, well, all the nerds. No, NVIDIA is the
Yeah.
leader of the architecture for like AI and stuff. But they all started with gaming.
Yep.
And so their most recent thing, the 50 series cards, like everyone's hyped because it's just better, right? And I've heard that it's supposed to be able to, like their like lower cards are apparently as good as they were, like are as good as the top card was like a year ago. Is this true? Do I need to buy the newest stuff?
So there's always like levels to that, right? But the short answer is no. NVIDIA will always tell you
That's a good point.
that their newest stuff is the best stuff, right? And
Uh-huh.
that you need that upgrade. Like if
That's
you're-
what they're selling. That's a great
exactly
point.
right. Like if you're sitting on a 4090, they're like, yeah, we beat that with a 5070. Well, you know, just come get one real quick and you'll see. That's more so marketing than it is actual performance, right? It always kind of dictates what your needs are when it comes to gaming. A lot of people like to end up overbuilding their PCs for what they actually end up needing.
That's fair.
But that's fine, you know, if you know you're doing it and it's like an enthusiast thing, you're like, yeah, I need the best of the best to,
Yeah.
to play Minecraft. Like, you know,
Just in case.
more power to you, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to stop you. But from like a, hey, I want to know what I need. Yeah, you generally don't need the latest and greatest. Like the 5090, I think, especially with what prices are. I think we touched on it a little bit earlier. Like the 5090 now, MSRP is $2,000.
That's a lot.
And I think some early benchmarks came out of it. It's like, yes, it's an improvement over the 4090, but when you're talking about $2,000 MSRP and then it's like I'm aftermarket, I'm really looking at 25, closer to $3,000 for my graphics card.
That's a little
Just
silly.
my graphics card.
Uh-huh.
You're a little out of whack now because it's like, what am I really?
Now you got to spend all the money on everything else to keep up.
What are we really doing here, right?
Yeah.
And it's a little bit of a like, you know, they're really the only ones who are that high end on the graphics card market. So it's a little bit of like NVIDIA just kind of gets to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Because I think AMD just said we're not participating in this.
That's what we like to see. You know,
they
no
came out-
competition's always the best. huh?
Yep. It's like AMD was a big part, I think, a few years ago when they first started coming out with their Ryzen processors. They first started actually, and then when they came out with these graphics cards and they started actually competing, at least in the mid tier, they competed for high tier, and that makes competition good. It's good for us.
Yeah, we get
consumer,
cheaper
right?
stuff for better.
Yeah, but at that top end of GPU, you're not really gonna. Again, enthusiasts do whatever you want, but for the average gamer who's like on League of Legends, you know,
Definitely need all that power. You know.
yeah, you definitely don't need all that, especially because like you could talk price point and it's like you could get if you have a 4070, like it's a great card for most games, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's the most important thing is just kind of assessing your needs, like what you're gonna play, what you really want out of that computer, longevity, and then like budget. Some people are just like, budget, what's that?
I wish. Dude.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I wish
right?
too. I'll get a 5090. Why not? But
That's
yeah,
pretty. It's
yeah.
a great point. Yeah.
yeah, it's all about need.
So you're telling me, is it hard to build is it hard to build a PC? Can I just go and buy one? Because I'm thinking of getting a new PC, but I already have one. Can I just upgrade that or like?
You could. It depends on kind of like what platform you're on. So it's basically just like the basis is your motherboard, right? Your motherboard is good for a certain type of processor, or a certain architecture of processor that
Sure.
they'll make. That's essentially what you're good for. I'm always of the build your own PC. Like I'm usually a campaigner
course
for
you
that.
are, yeah.
Because I think it's fun. I think it's cool, and I think you could generally save some money if you're
Okay.
doing it that way. So it's like, okay, I'm paying myself. I'm having fun while I'm doing it. Like, why not?
True.
You know, some people don't care. Some
Yeah.
people are
I
like,
just
"No,
want the end
press
product."
the button and I want my games and I'm ready to go. That's fine too.
Uh-huh.
But depending on kind of what you're on, like say you have a Ryzen AM4, right? Which is the motherboard chipset. You could upgrade your processor from there, depending on what graphics card you have. Like, what do you have in your computer?
I have a 3080.
You have a 3080. Okay. What kind of games do you play?
I played Tarkov.
Tarkov, okay.
And RimWorld, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Two very opposite end of the spectrum.
You could upgrade the PC, but I'm sure your PC runs Tarkov pretty.
It doesn't fine. Yeah, it's like 100 FPS or something. I'm more than happy.
Yeah, and then that's another thing too. A lot of people will be like, "Oh yeah, I need 300 FPS," but then they don't realize the refresh rate of your monitor actually comes into play. It's like, yeah, dude, I got 200 FPS on my 60 hertz monitor. It's like,
that would be depressing.
You don't have 200 FPS to your eyes.
It's like having a supercar with Prius tires on it. You can't put that power down.
You can't actually do it. So it's all about finding the balance, right? And then also not getting hey, I'm going to get a 5090, but then you have a Ryzen 2.
Okay. So the bottleneck is
yeah, you can have a little bit of a bottleneck. Some games will use a little bit more graphics card. Some games will use a little bit more processor. You generally want to maximize your graphics card, right? Because that's
it's the best looking one. It has fans.
It's the pretty one when you have the glass and the lights. And icon lights up.
That is yeah, you make a great point. It's all about what you actually need it for. It's just like the AI. It's like, what is your end goal? What are you trying to do?
Yep.
All right. So we talked about a lot of nerdy stuff. Let's get into some more jockey sports related.
Okay.
Embedded systems.
Okay. Yeah.
What in the world is an embedded system?
That's a Chad sport right there.
The peak of the NFL,
So it sounds obvious when you put it like this, but it's a system that's embedded, right?
2 words I don't understand.
Yeah, why didn't you just no?
Yeah.
So essentially, any big system that you might have, it's the computer inside that. That's by definition what embedded system means. So I could have a computer in my car that operates the infotainment system. That's an embedded system.
Oh.
Computers in there.
So an embedded system is just a brain inside of an actual physical thing?
Yep. It doesn't even have to be the central brain, but it's just something it's a computer that is embedded in something larger that has a specific application for that system.
So your brain is an embedded system for your body.
Yeah. You can think of it like that. Take our beautiful Jetson Nano, right? That was an embedded system. That was more or less the brain of our aircraft that we were going to fly around. So we built a little plane out of balsa wood, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got this little Jetson Nano, a little mini computer, microcontroller. We put it in there. We plugged it up to some servos, some motors,
crazy stuff,
and we told it what to do, right? But that, in essence, is what an embedded system is. You take that microcontroller is almost synonymous. A lot of the times, it will be a microcontroller, right? So it's a processor. It's a computer that's in something bigger.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a system in a system in a system, so it was just like the layers of a computer. I'm like, are we making a cake? So our senior design project thing, we spent a lot of effort and we did a lot of stuff.
Yep.
What would you say, what were your expectations going in, and what did you feel like you got out of it that was the best at the end of the day?
I will say, very top level of that project, my expectation was, hey, I'll learn a lot of stuff here and it's probably going to look good on my resume.
My favorite part, yeah.
In the latter, I ended up being right. Right? Yeah. A really simple way to put it, right? Because I remember going into that project, it was okay, I can go here. It looks like I'm going to be a lot busier if I join this project, this aero project. I don't mind that. I like doing stuff or whatever. And it was I had an alternative project where I think we had an intro meeting. They're we're just going to get a box and just kind of hang out every come through on Thursdays, just kind of coast through. And I was like, that might be better for my grades. But then I ended up going with the harder choice, and it was a beautiful, challenging project. I remember, I think I was a late add actually to the team. So
you and Daniel were our saviors from computer engineering and science. I'm I don't know what any of these are. I remember, we both came in. I think it was the team really started kind of
interviews like summertime, beginning summer, and we kind of joined like late September.
Yeah.
And then we were like, what is going on? Like, like I remember just taking the first few like weeks, really months, just like, so like, what am I trying to do?
It was so much confusion.
Like, what are
so
the rules?
much.
Like, what is really happening here? But then, yeah, I mean, it was a great exposure to all sorts of stuff. I mean, like I hadn't done Python outside of really, it was like one project 2 years prior to that. That was like not even really a thing. It was like put data in an Excel sheet with Python, and I hadn't really touched Python other than that. So
Sounds
that
like a
project,
super cool project.
yeah, it was like some fitness tracker. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. I ran this much today, and Python's
Amazing.
gonna put it in. I think so. It was
so
like the
interesting.
bummiest thing ever. It was
Yeah.
like my second year of college, and then that project was like, yeah, we're doing Python. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then so I got to learn Python kind of as we did that, and
Yeah.
I got some exposure to the other kind of teams, the structures there, like how stuff kind of works on a plane, like to begin with.
It was crazy. Yeah.
So I was like, huh?
Like nobody had any experience, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
let's figure everything out from scratch."
Yeah.
really cool.
I remember like one of our first meetings going with our then pilot of the aircraft, Mark, and
Also, Mark.
yep, another me. He was talking some stuff about aircraft, and I was like, "What is going on?" Like it's.
It was so much so
Yeah.
quickly.
But it was a great project. It was a great application, and it was a fitting senior design because it was kind of like a good culmination to just expose yourself to stuff and then just sink or swim. You know, I sank, but we but we learned some stuff for it, so it ended up being a good experience, and it was a cool project. I'm
was
happy
so
I chose that instead of hanging out on Thursdays.
I'm very thankful you chose that too.
Yeah.
It's it was it was crazy getting all the people together and everyone's thoughts and like the expertise of people like, oh, I'm really interested in this, and someone else is like, I have no idea what that is, but I know what this is.
Yeah.
And you guys really worked together. It was very cool.
Yeah, and then it was just different ways to do things, and we just started going off script too. I think originally, a standard thing was like you have a flight controller in your aircraft, and then we were going to use our Jetson Nano for all the computer vision stuff, and we were just like, no, we understand this, no flight controller, and that,
It was insane, yeah.
we don't need one. That ended up biting us.
I mean, hey, it was almost the perfect system.
But we learned, right? So
Yeah.
we were like, yeah, Nano can be a flight controller, and issues with that, and it was cool.
I mean, yeah, that's where you learn the most, when you like do trial and error. You start from like a thing. It's like, hey, I have this idea. Let me throw it out there, see what happens.
Yeah,
And that's something you rarely get to do in like the real world and in school.
Right. And that's kind of goes back to like why I like engineering, like kind of what engineering is, right? Again, just throw stuff at the wall.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you'll do your research and stuff, and you'll look for somebody who might have done this before or might have some input, but it's like, hey, let me just try some stuff and see what happens. And then the satisfaction of like when something actually works, right? Like,
Oh my, yeah.
you guys got a plane in the air, we got something in it, we got a paddle release, right?
That
Like
was
we
insane.
were able to.
And then autonomously landing. I was like, this is actually possible. I thought we were making stuff up.
Yep,
dude.
yep. We hit a button from up at my little. You remember I had like my ghetto ground station set up, so I had a little MacBook Pro and an
Yep.
external drive with Linux
That was
on
pretty
it,
crazy, yeah.
and I'm running
And
around.
somebody was holding the
with
antenna.
telemetry radios. Yeah, I'm out here like hitting a button on a Python GUI, and this plane just got deployed midair and flew to its like predetermined location, has GPS, and autonomously took itself there.
Yeah, no human intervention after you hit that button. You hit go and it was like, I got you, bro.
That was pretty cool. Yep, and we had like log files we were recording and all this stuff we were doing. It was pretty cool.
Sounds awesome.
The satisfaction of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I worked. I did this.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
We're proud of that.
So, seems like you've had lots of trial and error experience. Coding is always really confusing for most people. What is some advice that you have for like new coders? Do you have any like tips or tricks for it?
Yeah, so I mean, one, like take your time with it, right? Like don't ever feel like, oh, I don't get this isn't for me. Like, because again, it's the same thing where it's like that satisfaction on the back end when you kind of actually did something is what you're doing it for. That's the cool part. Like I'm not necessarily, like even me, like I like this stuff, but I'm not necessarily enjoying not knowing what I'm looking at, like, or
The
being
infinite
stuck.
error codes.
Yeah, the infinite errors or the being stuck. Like, I don't like that any more than the next guy, right? I don't think anybody does, but it's the stick with it. Oh, I did it. I figured it out. I did it. And nowadays, like, you couldn't say this in previous, maybe generations or a long time ago, but nowadays, like, you have so much at your disposal for free.
True.
That it's just like, again,
All the videos of YouTube.
spaghetti. Why not? Like, I don't need a good computer to do anything. I could open up my busty old laptop and just start typing in some Python, like, download a little software, pull up a YouTube video tutorial series, and just just start playing with Python. Why not? See what I can do. See what the potential is. If you do it and you're accomplishing things with it and you're like, I hate this, then it's not, it might not be for you. It's not, everybody's different
It
strokes.
physically hurts, huh?
Yeah, it's like, I'm great at this, but I am in pain. And, different strokes for different folks, but at least give it a try, stick with it, use, the internet as your disposal. I would recommend generally Python as like a good starter language to attack if you wanted to attack programming, because it's more like, and especially when you have someone explaining it to you, it's more like human readable. It's just like, okay, I'm saying this is that. Oh, okay.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, someone just told me X is 5. Well, I literally just write X is 5, and then I'm going to do something with 5 later, right? And depending on your goal. And back to what we were talking about before is like, what is your end goal? Like, okay, I'm going to start messing with coding, but what do I want to do with coding? I would encourage people to think about that from the beginning, because then that kind of gets you working towards a goal, as opposed to just saying like, yeah, I'm learning coding, and then you're just kind of aimlessly doing print statements.
You get like stuck at a level and it's like, I don't really know what else I need. I'm perfect.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I did some multiplication, but on Python, and I printed
Fancy calculator.
Yeah, just think about like what you think would be cool. Like, think about everyday things that might be easier, like in software, like get an email and of like your pet's vaccination records, and then just like receive that email and write it to a sheet. Your Python script can do that, like, stuff like that.
Do that with Python?
Yeah, you could. Yeah. Yeah, you can route stuff through your email and stuff with Python. And
that's pretty crazy.
Writing to Excel is like pretty standard to do with Python. So if you can have like a local host, you can log into your email essentially with Python, and then like record stuff, like just write it to a sheet. It's like, okay, so now I'm not going through all my emails on like looking for my vaccination records. It's like I have a sheet that is just being written. Yeah, it's little stuff like that.
That sounds really helpful.
Practical stuff, yeah. It's just like stuff that you could attack that might actually just make your life easier.
I've been looking for, when you buy stuff, they give you like an invoice for like construction and stuff. You buy stuff, they give you an invoice. When you do that for a while, you have like hundreds of invoices. So I've been trying to make a Excel document that's kind of like a Google search for all the invoices that we had before, so that you could be like, hey, I'm looking for wire. And then it's like, it'll give you all the instances you've bought wire from different suppliers and stuff. And I did all that inside of Visual Basic.
Oh, wow.
It was pretty painful. And I didn't realize Python could also write into Excel for me. Because I was like, oh yeah, Visual Basic is in Excel. That means it has to be the way to go.
Yeah.
It's dumb. It's so dumb.
Don't get me wrong, it works. If you did it a way that works, it works. But yeah. Python can create, write, modify Excel files like pretty easily. So it's the more you know, right? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like if you just take it and you're just like, hey, I have a goal. Your goal is that, right? Yeah, you can just start playing with stuff.
So you're saying Python is a good one for beginners because it's easier to understand for people?
I think so. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. You don't have to get too much into the nerdy computer weeds when you're doing Python.
Yeah, those are always the scariest, most concerning parts. So that's why I was like, I think Visual Basic's fine. Yeah. It's basic just like me,
right. Yeah, different. Yeah, everybody. Yeah, you can do your thing. I mean, you could code with Excel itself now, even without like
in the sheet.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, well, there's like the standard formulas, but I had heard something about like one of the recent like Excel updates is like you could actually program inside of it, and then some people different. Some people might like doing that. Some people might just like using Excel formulas itself, right? Because you can do a lot of the same stuff. Like Excel is a very in-depth suite. Like you could do that too, but I think Python is like a good way. It's very versatile, So like regardless of what your goal might be with it, you could probably do it with Python. And then it's kind of just the easiest one to understand. So you could just be somewhat practical with it. And like,
Gotcha.
hey, this is a sentence.
It is definitely a sentence.
Yeah.
So, Mark, open source stuff. What is it? What does that even mean? Like when they say like, oh, what do they say? Like YOLO, it's an open source image recognition software, right?
Yeah.
What does that mean? What does it mean to be open source?
So basically, keeping it simple.
Huh?
It's something that somebody made.
Uh-huh.
It's free and openly accessible to anybody. It's
Oh, okay. So
open
there's no
source.
like barrier
Yeah.
to entry.
Yeah, I'm not gatekeeping something that I developed. I am doing something on like a foundational level that could be useful to other people. Like YOLO, it's a pre-trained model, right? But image recognition can be useful for a lot of different applications. So somebody went and made it and basically made it publicly available, free, able to use. You can do whatever you want with it, essentially.
So you can change like the actual data that it's trained on.
Yeah, you can pull the whole thing onto your own like local computer and you can just go crazy on it.
That sounds pretty
Go
cool.
crazy on it, use it, add to it, use it, like apply it to something else. It basically all it means is it's like non-proprietary. Like there's no company that's saying like I own this. Don't touch
Oh
my
yeah, so
software.
you can actually look into like the details of it, like how it's made.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
all available. Yeah, the
makes
source is open.
Amazing. It's like free to invite anyone that's on the street like into our house. Like, you don't have to wonder what's on the outside.
Yeah,
You can see what the inside looks
yeah,
like.
you can dig into it and do whatever you want with it, and it's yours. And it's nice for people who, might just be a hobbyist or might just want to explore stuff. So if I want to mess with building a drone, right? Like I might incur expenses to buy drone parts or whatever.
Yeah.
But I can usually find an open source software that will, like YOLO, that might help me with image recognition stuff. So I can put a camera on my drone and be like, hey, let me just get YOLO and throw it on there. Like I don't have to pay anybody for a software.
Yeah.
I don't have to sit there trying to develop from start to finish my own machine learning
Image
algorithms.
recognition sounds insane to
all
start
that
from
stuff.
scratch.
Yeah, exactly. It's a trained algorithm that's available to me. Or maybe I bought a drone, right? Like I just bought one and I love drones and they're fun to play with and I just want to mod it somehow and mess or stick my own camera on it and see if I can do image recognition. I buy a drone, I'll stick my camera on it and then I can mess with YOLO that way.
That sounds,
Go find stuff.
sounds like a cool application.
Yeah.
We gotta figure that out.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to do that. I had like all these hobbyist ideas that you never get to any of them.
That's the whole engineering aspect of it, you know?
Yeah, but it would be cool. Build your own drone and like fly it around and
sounds
just
awesome,
spot
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
So speaking of drones and stuff, they're like new tech. I mean, they're relatively new tech that's always advancing. What would you say is a future technology that interests you like the most? That's like, if this comes out, I'm going like head first into it.
Oh, that's a tough one. AI is a general answer in what we've been talking about
true.
half the time, but I mean, that would be my general answer. Yeah, that's tough. There's just so many things out there and it's like, and a lot of the times it's just like somebody comes out with something and then I'm just like, why didn't I think of that? Like that's an awesome idea. Like I love that. Let me go work on that or let me go play with this. But it's like somebody else came out with it and I'm like, damn, it didn't come to me. I'm like, throw some stuff out there. I'm drawing blanks on.
Okay, so some
on
things that are
would be
interesting are the image generation from it. Actually, now that I think of it, everything's just AI in my head.
That's where I'm going with it. I'm almost like yeah, AI is the general answer.
Okay,
And it's like,
what application of AI is the one that interests you the most?
Okay. I think I like anything like the driving car is cool. Taking that to like aircrafts would be pretty cool. I think. I don't.
Everyone could have a private jet.
Yeah, like imagine you're doing that, or just really taking it to almost any kind of vehicle, right? It's kind of how I think about it. I'm like,
So
okay,
bringing it into the real world.
yeah, which
like
we're
the
already
physical.
doing.
We are.
In the form of self-driving car, but then it's like, okay, if I can do it with a car, why can't I do it with a boat or a yacht or a plane or a helicopter? And then it's like, it's crazy to think about. Like, just imagine like a picture we have right now with all these aircrafts or cars or vehicles essentially are all just just driving themselves or
Running
flying
perfectly.
themselves or like landing themselves or
That's actually pretty crazy.
just kind of expanding, I guess, where we're going with it in terms of vehicles. And then even I think about like the small stuff, like the grocery store, right? Where it's just like, which
No cashiers.
yeah, which they kind of have now. It's not really AI, but like you could go to the airport, I think, and like there are some where they'll like auto charge you based on. Oh, you never heard of, heard of this?
What?
Yeah. I don't think it's like an. I'm not sure exactly how it works. I don't think it's like an AI application, but yeah, it'll basically be cashierless, like a grocery store. And they have like these detectors where you basically, I think you might give it a card as you're going in.
I would hope. Like, what is it charging me
Yeah,
on my
but that-
social credit?
Yeah, yeah. Please write your social security.
Yeah.
It's like, no, trust me, bro. I'm good for it. Yeah,
Low.
no, but you give it. So you might give it the card at the beginning, and then like it basically is able to NFC, like near field technology, on your way out. It knows what you grabbed somehow. Yeah, I'm probably butchering how it actually works, but stuff like that is little stuff I think about too. Where it's like, or even
Just make our life simpler. That
yeah,
sounds cool.
making things just easier for everybody. I think like Amazon Fresh now has like the little grocery carts where
Or the big green ones that scan in as soon as you put it
yeah,
in.
yeah. So I think that's another like cashier list way to do it. The car already knows how much you owe. You know how much your shopping is at.
Yeah.
As you're just walking.
That's pretty
around the
good because
store.
then you could be like, $40 for that bag
Yeah.
of chips was maybe not a bad idea.
Yeah, like let me put the Twinkies back. Like I don't need those. So, yeah, little stuff like that. Just as it expands, I think it's gonna be pretty cool.
Definitely one to watch out for,
Yeah.
but like in a good way.
Yeah.
Don't be like afraid. It's okay. So, speaking of fear, Mark, what advice do you have for aspiring engineers?
Go back to what we were talking about with coding. It's just, and actually what we were talking about at the beginning is just consistency.
Mm-hmm.
One thing is like stick with it. Like nobody walked into any of the stuff that they were trying to do, and as much as, and a lot of stuff you'll see online, as much as somebody might want you to believe that they were just like perfect at everything when they started to like their entire life, they weren't.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really is. So like stick with it. Just like go for what you're trying to do. And if you're actually into what you're trying to do, find joy in it is the thing. If you're doing it and you just don't like it, then don't do it.
Great advice.
At the end of the day, like you want to do something that you enjoy. You want to do something that makes you happy. But if within engineering, there's a lot of different things you could try.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say like just stick with it, be consistent, find something that interests you, and just like don't let up. Just be relentless about it. And it's like, who cares? Like, okay,
Get that grit. Yeah.
oh look, I did it. It didn't work. What's the end of the work? Like, no,
Do it
what's the
again.
punishment? Yeah, try it again.
Yeah.
Like, go see why it didn't work. Try to fix it. Like, as long as you're kind of doing it and you're just trying to get lost in that process of it and like learning it, you'll find yourself making the strides that you wanted to make, like quicker than you anticipated making them. So that's like the 2 cents, I would say. For me, at least,
And those are some good signs.
that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, like not giving up is a huge part of
Yeah.
doing anything
Yeah.
new.
Yeah. And
Especially when
finding
it's
joy
hard.
in it.
Also true. So, if that was so I feel like that was the perfect wrap up of one message that people should take away from this entire episode, of this entire conversation. Can you say that again? Just the good parts. I mean, all of it was good.
Find joy in whatever you're doing. Be consistent with it. Don't give up. Don't compare yourself.
Oh, that last one's a good point too.
Yeah.
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 Well, Mark, thank you very much for coming. Thank
Yes, sir.
you, our listeners and viewers, for attending the episode. Before we do actually wrap up, though, Mark, I have a little gift for you. It's a little baby computer story.
That's sick. It has my name on it. Is
Yeah,
it 3D printed?
Yeah, it's 3D printed. It's Mastermind Mark,
Nice.
you know. It's an SSD storage thing, or at least I added slits for it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much for coming on. It was great talking to you.
Yeah.
We had a lot of episodes about artificial intelligence and the news about it. And it was all cool, but it was all stuff I was learning from online. So it's cool getting an actual computer engineer's perspective on it.
Yeah.
It actually makes a lot more sense and it's more reassuring having someone smarter talking about it. So yeah, thank you for coming. It was
Yeah,
great.
thanks for having me.
Great
It was
talking
cool.
to you.
Cool talking about it.
Yeah, thank you all for watching. Keep it simple with a computer engineer. See you guys next week. We're getting into some more fun topics. Have a beautiful day, and check out this video right here. Mark, can you point here or else it's not coming up? Thank you. Thank you very much, good sir.
Of course.
Beautiful.